almost embarrassing looking back. But then I went to San Francisco. That's when I had the first astrology chart done. That was just north of San Francisco. And then I came back to Toronto, and then in September I came back to Toronto. I moved in, and then by December I married Brenda, and we started living. So and then we moved out to the farm. So this is also part of the Sagittarius area, following these visions and ideas. So when it went to Capricorn, out of the Sag Capricorn, that's when I moved out of this. I got an apartment, and then I founded the beginning of the Research Center Library, which was an astrology mystical library. And I moved to a farm, and I started I marketed yarrow stalks and herbal teas, but I had a telescope and I was watching the stars and drawing charts up. So this was a more practical phase, because I actually registered the corporation. I was doing officially, I felt instinctively I had to do this work in the world. I was really pumped about it back in '71. So these were, how do we do it? Yeah, okay. So these were it's just a little phase of my life, a rather dramatic phase, but to me, this is how I see the progressions. This is how I see the progressions with the pentans. You see the signs, you see the pentans, you see the themes working out. I had all these crazy things happen in my life, a great diversity of things. But if I stand back and look at the theme of it, I was traveling, I was learning, I was searching. Until I got to India, and I had then I got initiated, got really deep experiences. Then I had the Capricorn phase. And suddenly I wasn't just the hippie traveling, I was suddenly the initiate that had teachings and other things that were happening. So that was the beginning of my connection to astrology. Even though I didn't know it when I was in India, it came apparent 2 years later when Kaylin did the chart for me. So then I had these visions, and I had to make the charts look the way I should be. And I knew that color and sound could heal everybody, and that the color and sound should be in the horoscope, and that I'm 50 years later, I'm still working with those concepts and still following those visions. So I gain, it's a story, but in going through my whole chart, I just, every time I'm trying to get a perspective, where was I, what I was going, how come I'm going through this, what's this happening? The progressions sit there and they give this current that seems to be the mainstream going on in the middle of all the transits. So, yeah, so the idea is, I just want to show you that you can go this far, that you can go this deeply into the progressions. And they serve as the guidelines for understanding these phases that you went through. So you should be able to take your chart, draw the circle around it for 90 degrees, see where it's going, and then you got your printouts. Make a text file, put some dates in, make some spaces, put some of your main events in it, even if you don't have the schedule as full as I did. I was lucky because I just was able to fill up most of that. It took a lot of work to fill out these traveling dates and when. But it really was a total change of consciousness, coming from leaving home, traveling, being the hippie, living in the mountains of Mexico, coming back, being disenchanted, going to England, going across Europe, across Asia, ending up in India and meditating, and coming back. So for me, it was a different me at each stage of this. It was just like I was dropping shells or shedding skins, Scorpio-like, but I was learning, getting experience to back up what I was learning. This is all happening in my third house. As my progressed sun went over Jupiter, then Mercury, really we saw the Mercury, Mars, and as it hit Mercury, Mars, it squared the Saturn and the Pluto. So it squared the Pluto and the Mercury, Mars, those are square in my chart. So it went through the most intense aspect, most intense time of my life, and triggered it off. Sure, I've had big disruptions, heartbreaks by transits and other things, but nothing at this level. It's almost like I was being drawn to catch up to something from another lifetime. I think the spiritual guru or something pulled me away from North America to get me there, so that it would change the direction of my life from where it was. Connection across lifetimes, call it, if you will. But really, you got to work yours, because your story will have, don't accept less. like everybody, I have this black room or this solitude rooms, but everybody has their own mind, their own aloneness, their own inner being that's sometimes pumped up and confident, sometimes it's weaker, and you go through these textures, and these are the things that the progressed sun is guiding you along. Now, there's other things going on, other transits, other progressions, other things going on while this is going on, but this theme you want to be able to see because it's the theme of what you're growing across a lifetime. And I had a lot of deep, profound mystical experience at a very young age. Most people get to these things in their 60s or 70s. All the old people in India that I knew around these solitude rooms were surprised that someone so young would be interested. There's other people that have been younger that have done it since, but it's not. But at the time, there was mostly old people, and they were shocked that a younger person would even be interested. But in any case, it was my learning curve. My progressed sun goes down below my chart, below my horizon, hits my IC, my motivation point. This is before it hit my IC. This is going over to Mars, Mercury. Then it's going to be 10, 15 years, 14, 13 years later, when it hits the IC, where I get deeply motivated, and that's kind of in the deeper impression of my life, and then I start building up, going up again. But my progressed sun's below the horizon my whole life. It's not that it's up in the 10th house. It's not like I'm going to be known in my career so much for it. It's more about the content of my knowledge and things I experience. And I don't know if I'll ever get the chance to express as much or express the things that I have gone through around that. But having gone through that, that's the intense. I went through the third house. I could see I got motivated there. I was involved with some organizations and things at this time. And then building up the astrology, building up the library, and then letting go of those things. A lot of other stories. And it went through the fourth house. Now it's gone in the fifth house, and it's gone into Capricorn, just going in the fifth house. And it's about grandkids and perhaps some creativity with the music and doing some creative things and teaching. But I've gone through my real testing times when it crossed the IC would have been the deepest point. And now it's going on, and it's just a question of how much time do I have left? What am I doing? And I'm really working through to get the videos of the classes so that what I understand about the astrology can be passed on. That's my take on it anyways. Okay. So teaching on the webinar is a little different than when we teach in class. Everybody would be telling their stories about their chart. It would take a lot longer to sift through this. So we'll get to case studies in the next level, putting these together. But so in presenting the technique, this is what I do. This is how I work with it. And it takes time. You look at it, you fill in what you can. You have what happened up to now. It's really in the last half of your life that these will begin to seem obvious. You say, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. I can see the shift from the motivation from the Scorpio phase to the Sagittarius understanding phase. My Venus is in Sag on my IC. It's important. My values, first, I was loving women, but then it was like, I loved higher understanding. I've lived in a library. I've always had mystical things around me where I'm living. And that became, and I always tried to put my art or my creativity around me to be around to represent the Sagittarian theme. People come visit me, and I got my little tusk of India or whatever in my own personal world. Now it's in Capricorn. It's older, and I'm just trying to complete things as best I can and work, but I got lots to do. So, and still my meditations and chanting over this whole time period. I still chant every morning, every night. I still chant an hour to a day. So my understanding of that is if I do a client, I'm going to put my heart into it and tune into that person, but I have to clear it by the next day. Before I see another person, I can't bring the last person into the next person. That's just an intellectual exercise. I have to clear my heart and my soul, so I'm clear with that, so I'm ready for the next session. And when that's finished, I have to clear it again. So each day I almost have to die daily and clear the slate before I can work with another person's chart to give the proper attention to it. So working on anyone's chart, it's not like you're defining something, you're just tuning in. With transits, you're organizing the timing and you're getting a time frame in life, you're setting up the calendar. With the progressions, you're just tuning in. It's like, they only sit there as a sort of symbol behind you. Oh, someone's going through that phase. You see it below the horizon, you see it above, you see it rising, so you see what angle it's going to go across in their lifetime. And then you start wondering, but that's going to be a main theme. You're still working with the transits, but it's still useful to even see that against the background of where someone's going through their transits. So see what you can do. If you have questions or puzzles, put them on the forum. We could use that kind of dialogue going on in the forum, and I'll try and respond if there's other questions or you're having struggles with, or what do you think, how it's working for you, or how you see it, or problems you might have. Put your questions up there, and we'll try and carry it on from there. So next week we're going to stay on the sun, but we're going deeper. We're going to go into individual degrees around this. Okay, thanks. Okay, talk to you next week.